Impossible. You can't be alive. Alien women exclaimed in shock after scanning the human. The sky over Zyphera glowed in shades of deep violet and silver. Strange clouds swirled like liquid metal, casting eerie reflections over the jagged mountains below. Among the peaks and valleys, a squad of alien scientists moved cautiously. Their mission was simple in words but dangerous in reality. Explore the forbidden wastelands where no alien dared go, a land littered with the remains of ancient civilizations and the wrecks of spacecraft long abandoned. Leading the group was Lyra, a young but exceptionally skilled alien woman. Her eyes shimmered like liquid emeralds, reflecting the strange lights of the wasteland. She carried a scanning device strapped across her chest, its holographic screen hovering in front of her as she walked. Lyra was curious, precise, and fearless, known for discovering secrets others would ignore. The squad paused suddenly. Lyra's scanner buzzed and flashed, detecting an unusual energy signature. It wasn't the energy of the wind storms that often swept across the plains. It wasn't the dormant power from the old shipwrecks. This signal was living, small but strong, and unlike anything recorded in Zyphera's history. "Lyra," one of the squad members said, his voice tense. "What is it?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she focused, letting the scanner analyze the source. The energy was faintly warm, pulsing in slow, rhythmic waves. It reminded her of the energy readings of a species thought extinct centuries ago, humans. Lyra's pulse quickened. Humans were not supposed to exist here anymore. Their species had disappeared long before Zyphera became a hub for galactic colonies. "It's alive," she whispered, almost to herself. "And it shouldn't be." The squad approached the crater where the energy signature originated. The ground around it was scorched and fractured as if something had fallen from the sky at high speed. The alien scientists stepped carefully over jagged rocks and debris, their boots crunching against the metallic soil. There, in the center of the crater, lay a human. He was unconscious, but his chest rose and fell steadily. His skin was pale under the silver light, and his clothes were torn and burnt. The human's eyes were closed, and he seemed fragile, almost unreal in this alien landscape. Lyra crouched beside him. Her scanner hovered over his chest and emitted a soft hum. Numbers, graphs, and symbols flashed across her holographic screen. Then her hands froze mid-motion. "No, it can't be," she said, her voice trembling. The screen showed life readings that defied logic. His heart rate was normal, his brain activity was steady, and his vital signs were completely intact despite the impact. Humans could not survive such conditions, yet here he was alive. The squad gathered around her, eyes wide with shock. One of them muttered, "Is it really a human?" Lyra nodded, her mind racing. She had scanned the historical archives, studied all possible species, and yet nothing explained what she was seeing. This human wasn't just alive, he was extraordinary. Slowly, the human stirred. His eyes opened, revealing a soft brown color that seemed almost ordinary, yet full of life. He looked around with confusion, taking in the purple sky, the jagged mountains, and the strange, emerald-eyed aliens surrounding him. Panic flickered in his gaze, and he tried to move, but his body was weak from the fall. "Stay still," Lyra said gently, her voice calm but firm. She extended a hand, but the human flinched. "Where am I?" he whispered in a shaky voice. The language was strange to the aliens, but the scanner translated it almost instantly. "You are on Zyphera," Lyra replied. "I am Lyra. You are safe for now." The human's brow furrowed, and he looked at her as if struggling to understand. "Zyphera alive," he muttered, confusion lacing every word. Lyra glanced at her squad. None of them spoke. They were as stunned as she was. Humans were thought extinct, wiped out in the interstellar conflict centuries ago. No one had ever expected to see a living human again, especially here, in the remote wastelands of Zyphera. Lyra's curiosity overpowered her caution. She gently waved the scanner over the human's body, careful not to touch him directly. The screen lit up with data. Cellular structure, DNA patterns, brain signals, all normal, all healthy. Yet something else appeared, something unusual. A faint energy signature surrounded him, like a thin, shimmering aura. "What is that?" one of her colleagues asked, stepping closer. Lyra shook her head. "I don't know, it's not anything recorded. I've never seen anything like it." The human sat up slowly, grimacing from pain. His clothes were torn, but his expression was more curious than afraid now. He looked at Lyra and asked again, "Where am I? Who are you?" Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly. There was something in his voice, a quiet strength that surprised her. Humans were supposed to be fragile, limited, and long extinct, but this one sounded determined. She made a quick decision. "You are safe. We are scientists. We mean no harm." The human's brow relaxed a little, though he still seemed wary. He studied Lyra and her squad with wide eyes. "Scientists," he repeated. "You scan," Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, I can scan your body, your mind, only to understand." He hesitated. His gaze flicked to the scanner, then back to her face. Finally, he nodded, trusting her cautiously. Lyra moved the scanner closer, and a soft hum filled the air. She watched the data appear on the screen and felt a thrill she hadn't felt in years. This human wasn't just alive. He carried something remarkable. His body healed quickly, more quickly than expected. His brainwaves suggested an unusual resilience. Lyra's mind raced with questions. How had he survived? How had he remained hidden all this time? And most importantly, why now? The squad discussed their options in whispers. "We could bring him back to the research base," one suggested. "Study him, learn from him." Another shook his head. "No, if the High Council finds out, they will take him. They'll weaponize him. He's too valuable." Lyra listened silently, torn. She had sworn to obey her superiors, but she couldn't ignore the human lying before her. There was something about him, something unique. And deep inside, she felt an inexplicable connection, a need to understand him without interference from politics or control. The human looked around nervously. "You help?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Lyra said firmly. "I will help you. You are safe with me." He blinked, unsure whether to trust her. Then, as if accepting her words, he relaxed slightly, though he remained alert. As Lyra guided him away from the crater, her scanner continued to hum softly. She noticed subtle things. His energy pulses were irregular but strong. His heart showed no signs of strain, and his body was adapting to the alien environment. Whatever he was beyond normal human limits. Suddenly, a distant rumble shook the ground. Lyra looked up and saw a swirl of energy in the sky, a storm unlike any she had ever encountered. The wastelands of Zyphera were unpredictable, but this storm was unusual even by those standards. "We need to move," she said, helping the human to his feet. His steps were slow, but he kept up, eyes wide with awe and fear. The squad followed, forming a protective circle around him. Lyra felt a mix of excitement and fear. She had discovered something impossible, a living human in a place where none should exist. She didn't know how or why, but she knew one thing. This human would change everything she thought she knew about her world, her mission, and herself. As the storm clouds grew closer and the strange violet sky darkened, Lyra's mind raced with possibilities. Could he survive the storm? Could she protect him from others who might want to exploit him? And most importantly, what secrets did he carry that could change the fate of life across galaxies? The human looked at her and asked quietly, "You understand?" Lyra met his gaze, her emerald eyes shining with determination. "I will try," she said. "We'll figure it out together." And for the first time in centuries, the wastelands of Zyphera held not only danger but also hope. Hope that a human, impossible and alive, could survive and maybe, just maybe, teach the aliens something they had long forgotten. The squad moved forward into the growing storm, Lyra in the lead, guiding the human whose presence defied everything they knew. Unknown dangers awaited them. But for now, the impossible had become reality, and reality was more thrilling than anything Lyra had ever imagined. The alien storm raged across the wasteland, lightning cutting jagged paths across the violet sky. The winds howled, throwing shards of metallic debris into the air. Lyra held tightly to the human, now named Evan, as she guided him through the jagged rocks and broken remnants of ancient ships. Every step was a struggle, but she could sense his determination. Despite the injuries and exhaustion, Evan moved steadily, learning quickly how to navigate this strange alien world. "Stay close," Lyra shouted over the roar of the storm. "The winds can knock you down if you're not careful." Evan nodded, gripping a piece of Lyra's armor for support. "I can do it," he said, his voice low but firm. She could hear the strain in his tone, yet there was something else, an inner strength, a spark that told her he wasn't like the human she had read about in history books. He was different. As they moved deeper into the wasteland, Lyra scanned him again. Her hands were steady, but her heart raced. The scanner beeped, showing anomalies in his physiology. Evan's muscles were regenerating faster than normal, and faint energy pulses ran through his body, almost like tiny sparks of life she could see in the holographic display. "What is happening to me?" Evan asked, noticing the glow in his own hands. "I don't know," Lyra admitted. She had never seen a human exhibit these abilities. "Something in your body, it's different. You might be stronger than anyone I've ever studied." Evan looked at her, confusion and awe mixing in his expression. "Stronger, how?" "Faster healing, energy, resilience," she said slowly. "You survive things humans shouldn't survive. That is remarkable." For a long moment they walked in silence, the storm bending around them. Lyra could feel that Evan was not just a curiosity. He was a living mystery, a puzzle she desperately wanted to understand. But she also knew that others, alien factions and possibly her own council, would see him as a tool or a weapon. She had to protect him. The wasteland opened into a valley filled with the ruins of a crashed alien ship. Rusted metal and shattered panels littered the ground, and faint energy traces pulsed from the wreckage. "We can rest there for a short time," Lyra said, guiding Evan under a partially intact hull. It would provide some protection from the storm. Evan collapsed against the metal, panting. I've never seen a place like this," he admitted, looking around at the strange technology. "It's alive but dead." Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, this was a settlement long ago. The technology still hums with energy, even though the people are gone." As Evan rested, Lyra examined him more closely. She noticed small implants under his skin, almost invisible, metallic and glowing faintly. She had never seen anything like them. "Evan, these implants," she said, her voice calm but curious. "Do you know what they are?" Evan frowned, touching his chest carefully. I don't remember. I think someone put them in me a long time ago." His words were hesitant, as if the memory was buried deep in his mind. Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. Humans had been extinct for centuries, and yet this one not only survived but carried technology from the past. It suggested that Evan was not ordinary. He was a remnant of something older, something deliberate. Suddenly, a sound echoed from the ruins, a low hum growing louder. Lyra tensed. "We are not alone," she whispered. Her hand went to the energy blade at her side. The scanner beeped frantically, detecting multiple energy signatures approaching. Evan looked at her with wide eyes. What is it?" "They're aliens," Lyra said, her voice steady. "Not my squad, someone else. They want to capture you." Evan froze, fear flashing across his face. "Why me?" Lyra shook her head. "Because you are unique. They see what you carry, the power, the survival, they want to control it." She glanced at him, her expression softening. "But I won't let them." The ruins erupted with movement as alien figures emerged from the shadows. They were armed with advanced weapons, their armor sleek and dark, and their expressions unreadable behind reflective visors. Lyra positioned herself in front of Evan. "Stay behind me," she commanded. Evan's hands glowed faintly. Energy pulses spread across his skin, illuminating the ruins with a strange, beautiful light. Lyra watched in awe. "You're protecting yourself," she said. Evan nodded, focusing. "I don't know how, but I feel it. I can do it." The aliens advanced, their weapons humming. Lyra raised her blade, prepared to defend him, but Evan stepped forward, hands glowing brighter. A pulse of energy shot from him, knocking the enemies back with a force that shook the metal walls of the ruins. Lyra's jaw dropped. "Incredible, you really are different." Evan looked down at his hands, shocked. "I did that." "Yes," Lyra said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "And we need to learn how to control it quickly. They will come again." After a tense moment, the rival aliens retreated, disappearing into the shadows. The ruins were silent once more, except for the hum of lingering energy. Evan sank to the ground, exhausted but alive. Lyra knelt beside him, scanning his body and mind. "You are far stronger than I imagined," she said softly. "And I think there's more you can do, but we must be careful. Others will come and they will not be kind." Evan looked at her, trust forming slowly. "You believe in me?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes. And I will protect you, whatever it takes." As the storm outside raged, Lyra worked to help Evan recover. She found a small chamber within the ruins, safe from the worst of the winds, and they settled there. She showed him how to rest and conserve energy, and he shared what little he could remember. "My memories, they are blurry," Evan admitted. "I remember experiments, people studying humans, but I don't know why I'm here, why I survived." Lyra listened intently. Her mind raced. If Evan had been part of an experiment, it meant his survival was intentional. He wasn't just a survivor, he was the key to something greater. Perhaps humanity's legacy had not ended after all. "I think you were meant to survive," Lyra said carefully. "And now you're here for a reason. We need to find out why." Evan nodded slowly, feeling a strange sense of purpose. "Then we must find answers." The night passed with them talking in whispers, the storm howling outside, and the ruins glowing faintly with the energy of long-dead machines. Lyra scanned Evan periodically, noting his rapid recovery and the unusual energy pulses that continued to radiate from his body. Each scan revealed more mysteries, more evidence that he was not a normal human. By morning, the storm had subsided, leaving the wasteland bathed in silver light. The ruins around them sparkled faintly, reflecting the dawn. Lyra helped Evan to his feet. "We have to move," she said. "The rival faction will not stop, and we need to find a safe place to understand your abilities and to learn the truth about your past." As they walked, Evan began to notice subtle changes in his senses. He could see small energy currents in the air, feel vibrations through the ground, and sense the presence of creatures hidden nearby. Lyra watched him carefully. "Your abilities are growing," she noted. "We need to train you to control them, or they may put you at risk." Evan smiled faintly. "Then I will learn, I will survive." Their journey through the wasteland was treacherous. Strange creatures slithered between the rocks, and remnants of alien technology sparked dangerously. Yet Evan adapted quickly, guided by Lyra, and together they navigated obstacles that would have been impossible for any ordinary human or alien. Finally, after hours of travel, they reached a hidden valley surrounded by cliffs. The energy readings here were stable, and the area seemed untouched by other factions. Lyra felt relief wash over her. This would be their base for now, a place to rest, heal, and learn. As they settled in, Evan looked around at the alien landscape with awe. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Even here in the ruins there is life." Lyra smiled. "Yes, and together we will find out what you are and why you are here, but we must be cautious. The galaxy is watching, and not everyone will welcome a human alive." Evan nodded, determination in his eyes. For the first time he felt hope, not just for survival but for understanding, for purpose, and perhaps even for a chance to reclaim the legacy of his species. Lyra watched him, her heart filled with a mix of awe and responsibility. The impossible had survived, and now, together, they would uncover secrets that had been hidden for centuries. The wasteland around them was quiet for now, but both knew this calm was temporary. Danger would come again, but they were ready. And for the first time in centuries, a human and an alien woman walked side by side, facing the unknown together. The hidden valley was calm, almost peaceful, but Lyra knew better. The galaxy was full of dangers, and Evan's survival had already attracted unwanted attention. Even in this quiet place, she could feel the tension in the air, the faint vibrations of distant movement, the subtle energy disturbances that only her scanner could detect. Evan stood beside her, stretching and flexing as he began to adapt to the alien environment. His energy pulses had grown stronger overnight. The faint glow around his hands now extended across his arms and even his chest like a living light. Lyra watched him carefully. "You're improving faster than I expected," she said, "but that also makes you more noticeable. The rival faction will sense you." Evan nodded, his brow furrowed. "I don't understand it fully. The energy, I feel it in me. I can sense things before they happen sometimes, and I can heal faster than I should." "That's your human resilience," Lyra said slowly, scanning him again. "But it's more than that. Something about your body, your DNA, it's unusual. You may carry knowledge or abilities humans have lost long ago." Evan's eyes widened. "Lost humans like me?" "Yes," Lyra replied. "Your kind, it was thought extinct, but you survived, and that makes you dangerous to those who wish to control you." The air suddenly vibrated. Lyra's scanner beeped sharply. A large energy surge appeared near the edge of the valley. "They're here," she said, tension tightening her shoulders. "The rival faction, they found us." Evan's hands began to glow brighter. "I can fight?" he asked, uncertain but resolute. "You can," Lyra said, "but you must control it. Use your mind, your instincts. Don't let fear guide you." From the cliffs above, alien shapes appeared. Sleek, dark-armored figures with glowing eyes and advanced weaponry descended. They were relentless, moving with precision. Lyra stood firm in front of Evan, her energy blade humming with power. She knew that this confrontation could determine whether Evan survived, or whether the galaxy would lose him forever. The aliens struck first. Beams of energy shot toward them, cracking the rocks and sending sparks flying. Lyra deflected several with her blade, but she could see the human's fear and determination battling inside him. "Evan," she shouted, "focus." He inhaled deeply, letting his instincts guide him. A pulse of energy erupted from his chest, a bright wave that knocked the attackers back. The force rattled the ground and sent debris flying. Lyra's eyes widened. "That's incredible, but it's only the beginning. You must control it." Evan felt the energy within him, flowing like a river of light. He raised his hands, and with a deep concentration he projected a shield around them. Beams of energy struck it, bouncing harmlessly away. The rival faction faltered, confused by the unexpected defense. Lyra nodded, impressed. "Good, now let's move." She grabbed his arm, pulling him through the valley. "We must find higher ground, somewhere safe to plan our next move." The journey was treacherous. The valley floor was unstable, dotted with jagged metal shards and ancient alien machinery. Evan's newfound abilities allowed him to navigate quickly, sensing weak spots in the ground before stepping on them. Lyra followed, scanning constantly for movement. As they climbed a steep incline, Evan's memory began to return in fragments. Images flashed in his mind. Strange laboratories, humans in suspended sleep, energy chambers glowing bright, and scientists monitoring him. He gasped, clutching his head. "What's happening?" Lyra asked, concerned. I remember," Evan said, his voice shaking. "Humans, experiments, I was part of something centuries ago. They wanted to survive, spread humans across galaxies. I think I was chosen." Lyra's eyes widened. "Chosen for what?" "I don't know fully," he admitted. "But I think I carry something. A code or knowledge to restore humans. That's why I survived. Lyra's mind raced. If Evan truly carried a key to restoring humanity, then he was far more important than she had imagined. And that made him an even bigger target. She had to protect him at all costs. The sun of Zyphera rose, casting a pale silver light over the valley. They reached a plateau overlooking the wasteland. From this vantage point, they could see the distant movements of the rival faction, small dots moving across the horizon, scanning and searching. "We can rest here," Lyra said, "but only briefly. They will not stop until they find you." Evan looked down at the energy pulsating from his body. "I feel different," he admitted. "Stronger, but I'm scared of what I can do. I don't want to hurt anyone." "You won't," Lyra said firmly. "I will guide you. Your strength is a gift, Evan, not a weapon. But you must learn control, and quickly." They set up a small camp in a hidden alcove, using remnants of alien technology to shield themselves. Lyra guided Evan through exercises, teaching him to focus his energy, to control the pulses, and to sense the environment around them. Slowly, he learned to extend his awareness, detecting creatures and objects before they appeared. Hours passed. Evan's confidence grew, and Lyra saw a transformation in him, not just physically but mentally. He was learning to trust himself and to trust her guidance. And in that trust, a bond formed, unspoken but strong. As night fell, the sky shimmered with Zyphera's twin moons. Lyra scanned the horizon, noticing faint signals. The rival faction was regrouping, planning their next move. She knew the confrontation was inevitable. "We can't run forever," she said quietly. "We need to find answers, and we need a plan." Evan nodded, determination in his eyes. "Then we find it. I need to know why I survived, and what I am meant to do." Lyra felt a surge of hope. Perhaps together they could uncover the truth, not only about Evan's past but about the future of humanity itself. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. A massive creature emerged from a nearby canyon, drawn by the energy Evan emitted. Its body was covered in metallic scales, and its eyes glowed like molten silver. The creature roared, shaking the cliffs. "Move!" Lyra shouted, grabbing Evan's hand. "We have to fight or escape." Evan focused, feeling the energy within him respond to his fear and will. He projected a pulse that hit the creature directly, sending it staggering backward. The ground shook and rocks tumbled down the cliffs. Lyra used the distraction to climb higher, positioning herself to strike if needed. She watched Evan, amazed. Not only could he defend himself, but he was learning to anticipate the creature's movements, to react with precision that no ordinary human could achieve. The creature recovered, charging toward them with a deafening roar. Evan inhaled deeply, extending a protective shield around both of them. The creature slammed into the shield, energy crackling violently, but it could not break through. Lyra felt a mix of pride and awe. "You're learning fast," she said. "This is only the beginning. Your abilities are stronger than I imagined, but you must focus. Fear weakens you." Evan nodded, concentration etched on his face. The glow of his energy intensified, pushing the creature back. With a final surge, he projected a controlled pulse that forced the creature to retreat into the canyon, disappearing from sight. They both sank to the ground, exhausted but alive. The night was quiet again, save for the hum of residual energy in the air. Lyra scanned Evan, noting that his body was recovering rapidly from the exertion. "You are incredible," she said softly, "but we must be careful. Others will come, and they will not be as forgiving as this creature." Evan smiled faintly. "I can do this, with you," Lyra nodded. "And we will. Together we will survive. And we will find the answers, about your past, your powers, and why you are the last of your kind." As they rested under the twin moons, the valley seemed almost peaceful, but Lyra knew this calm was temporary. Danger lurked in every shadow, waiting for a moment of weakness. Yet for the first time she felt hope, not just for survival but for discovery, for understanding, and perhaps even for the chance to restore what had been lost. The galaxy had set impossible odds against them, but Lyra and Evan were ready. And as the wind whispered through the ruins of the ancient valley, it carried with it a promise that even in the face of danger, courage, trust, and determination could forge a path to the impossible. The hidden valley was quiet, but the sense of danger lingered like a shadow. Lyra and Evan had spent days navigating the wasteland, evading the rival faction, and training Evan to control his extraordinary powers. Now, the time had come for answers. The ancient alien archives, buried beneath a massive cliff of jagged metal and stone, awaited them. It was said these archives contained knowledge older than Zyphero itself, records of civilizations that had long vanished and secrets about species that no longer existed. Lyra led the way, her scanner illuminating the dark path ahead. Evan followed closely, his hands glowing faintly, a soft light reflecting his energy and readiness. Both were silent, their minds focused on the challenge before them. "This place," Lyra whispered, "is protected. Ancient systems may activate if we trigger the wrong sequence." "Stay alert." Evan nodded, his pulse steady despite the anticipation. I feel like I belong here," he said quietly. "Like this is part of what I am meant to do." Lyra smiled faintly. "Perhaps it is, but first we must survive what lies ahead." The entrance to the archives was hidden beneath a collapsed ridge of metal panels. Lyra carefully scanned the area, detecting faint energy readings and old security protocols. With precise movements, she deactivated the traps, and the massive doors groaned as they slowly opened. A soft light spilled out from within, revealing a vast chamber filled with ancient machinery and floating holographic displays. Evan stepped inside cautiously, awe and curiosity lighting his face. "It's incredible," he whispered. "So much knowledge all here." Lyra nodded, scanning the chamber. "Yes, and among all this the answers about your past and your purpose should be here." They moved deeper into the archives. The holographic displays flickered to life as they approached, responding to Evan's energy signature. Symbols and images of humans, alien species, and advanced technologies filled the air. Lyra watched closely as Evan reached out, instinctively touching the floating panels. His memories began to return in vivid flashes. Humans in stasis chambers, scientists recording data, strange experiments designed to preserve humanity across the galaxy, and messages encoded in his DNA. Evan gasped, pulling back. I remember now. I was part of a program humans wanted to survive extinction. They implanted knowledge in me and my body. I carry their mission." Lyra stepped closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Then you are not just a survivor, Evan. You are a key, a bridge to humanity's legacy. That is why they wanted you, why you are unique." Evan's hands glowed brighter as he absorbed the revelation. I can continue what humans began. I can restore knowledge, help others survive." His voice trembled with both awe and responsibility. Before they could discuss further, a sound echoed through the chamber. The rival faction had found them. Their footsteps rang against the metal floor as armored figures emerged from hidden passages, weapons aimed directly at Evan. Lyra's energy blade hummed and she moved to block the path. "Stay behind me," she commanded. The rival leader stepped forward, his armor reflecting the archive's light. "That human belongs to us," he said coldly. "Hand him over and perhaps we will spare you." Evan stepped forward, energy crackling around him. "No," he said firmly. "I am not yours to take. I will not let you control me." The leader snarled, signaling his troops to attack. Beams of energy shot through the chamber, striking walls and machinery. Lyra deflected them with her blade, while Evan raised his energy shield, glowing brilliantly as it absorbed the blasts. Lyra and Evan moved in sync, their combined skills turning the tide. Evan's energy pulses pushed back the attackers, sending them stumbling, while Lyra struck with precision, disarming several. The rival faction had underestimated him. They hadn't expected a human with such abilities. "You are stronger than we imagined," the leader shouted, regrouping. "But this is only the beginning." Evan concentrated, focusing on the energy within him. He reached out with his mind, sensing the archive's energy flows. A wave of light surged from him, interacting with the ancient machinery. Holographic panels flickered and formed a massive projection. A map of the galaxy, showing human colonies, lost knowledge vaults, and star systems teeming with life that humans had once influenced. Lyra watched in amazement. "You're connecting to the archives. Using your energy, you're unlocking the knowledge." Evan's hands glowed brighter, and the rival faction staggered, overwhelmed by the energy surge. With a deep breath, Evan projected a controlled pulse that disabled their weapons and forced them to retreat into the shadows. The chamber was silent once more, filled only with the hum of the archive's energy. Lyra approached him. "You did it," she said softly. "You protected yourself and revealed what humans were capable of. You are extraordinary." Evan looked at the projections, awe in his eyes. I understand now. Humans, they weren't just survivors. They were explorers, teachers, protectors. And now it's my turn." They spent hours in the archives, studying the data and unlocking information encoded in Evan's body. He learned about human technologies, survival methods, and long-lost strategies for preserving life and knowledge across galaxies. Each discovery strengthened his resolve. "We have a chance," Lyra said. "A chance to restore what was lost and prevent it from being controlled by others." Evan nodded. "Then we must prepare. The galaxy is dangerous, but knowledge is power, and I can use it to help, not to harm." The next day, they left the archives, carrying with them holographic maps and records that would guide them across distant worlds. Their bond had grown stronger. They were no longer just human and alien, but partners in a mission that spanned species and centuries. As they traversed the wasteland, Evan practiced controlling his abilities, guided by Lyra's training. He could sense the energy of the land, detect hidden threats, and even manipulate small bursts of power to move obstacles. Lyra observed with pride and awe, knowing that his potential was far greater than even she had imagined. Finally, they reached the edge of the valley, overlooking the vast expanse of Zyphera. The rival faction had retreated, but their presence lingered in the minds of Lyra and Evan. They knew the dangers were not gone, only delayed. Yet hope burned bright between them. Evan looked at the horizon, determination shining in his eyes. "I survived for a reason. I will use this knowledge, I will protect it, and I will continue humanity's mission." Lyra smiled, her eyes reflecting the twin moons above. "And I will stand beside you. Together, we will face whatever comes." As they prepared to descend into the valley below, a new light appeared in the sky, a distant ship, ancient and shimmering with alien technology. It hovered silently, scanning the land. Lyra's heart raced. This could be another threat, or perhaps a sign of allies, remnants of civilizations long thought gone. "We are not alone," she whispered. Evan nodded, energy glowing around him. "Then we face it together." With that, they descended into the valley, ready to confront the challenges ahead. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders, but they were no longer merely survivors. They were seekers of knowledge, protectors of legacy, and bearers of hope for both humans and aliens alike. As the twin moons rose high in the sky, Lyra and Evan stood side by side, their silhouettes framed against the glowing horizon. For the first time in centuries, the legacy of humanity and the courage of an alien woman came together to shape the future. The impossible had survived. The human had returned. And together, they would face the unknown, unlocking secrets, sharing knowledge, and forging a path that no one had thought possible. The galaxy awaited.